Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we dive into the latest news and current events shaping our world. I'm your host, Walter. Today, we're taking a closer look at some significant developments in international relations. We start with a speech by Secretary of State Marco Rubio at the Munich Security Conference, where he addressed Europe's concerns about U.S. commitment to the continent. Rubio reassured European leaders that the U.S. is dedicated to its alliances, emphasizing that their destinies are intertwined. However, his message also included criticism of what he termed a dangerous delusion of open borders, free trade, and certain energy policies, which he believes have been detrimental. Rubio's speech struck a somewhat different tone compared to last year's address by Vice President J.D. Vance, who suggested the U.S. might be turning away from Europe. The shift in rhetoric is noteworthy, especially given the ongoing tensions between the U.S. and its allies over tariffs, security, and cultural issues. Meanwhile, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz also spoke at the conference, urging Germany and Europe to bolster their security and independence while seeking partnerships with other regions to support the liberal order. He acknowledged that the world has changed and leaders must adapt to these new realities. It's clear that international relations are at a crossroads, with various nations navigating complex geopolitical landscapes. As we move forward, it will be crucial to watch how these dynamics evolve and impact global stability. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into a developing story that's making headlines around the world. 5 European countries, the UK, Sweden, France, Germany, and the Netherlands, have jointly accused Russia of poisoning opposition politician Alexei Navalny with a rare toxin while he was in prison. This shocking revelation comes after an analysis of samples from Navalny's body, which allegedly found the presence of epibetadine, a toxin found in the skin of certain dart frogs native to South America. According to the joint statement, the European countries believe that Russia had the means, motive, and opportunity to deploy this lethal toxin against Navalny, who was serving a 19-year prison sentence in an Arctic penal colony. Navalny's widow, Yulia Navalnaya, has stated that it is now science-proven that her husband was murdered, and she had previously expressed her suspicions about his death. It's worth noting that Russia has not yet commented on these allegations, but the international community is watching this situation closely. The countries involved have reported Russia to the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, citing a potential breach of the Chemical Weapons Convention. Navalny was a vocal critic of Russian President Vladimir Putin and had previously survived a poisoning attempt in 2020, which he blamed on the Russian government. As this story continues to unfold, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and await further evidence before drawing conclusions. The incident has sparked widespread concern about the use of chemical agents against political opponents and the potential implications for global diplomacy. We'll be keeping a close eye on this developing story and providing updates as more information becomes available. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're wrapping up today's show with a look at the ongoing budget impasse in the United States that has partially shut down the Department of Homeland Security. The shutdown, which began on February 14, affects thousands of government workers, from airport security agents to disaster relief officials, who will either be furloughed or forced to work without pay until funding is agreed upon by Congress. At the center of the dispute is the department's Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, whose agents were involved in a controversial incident in Minneapolis that resulted in the deaths of 2 U.S. citizens. Democrats are demanding changes to how ICE conducts its operations, including curtailed patrols, a ban on agents wearing face masks during operations, and requirements for judicial warrants to enter private property. While the Department of Homeland Security faces a shutdown, ICE itself will remain operational due to previously approved funds. However, other agencies, such as the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Transportation Security Administration, will be impacted. The TSA has warned that a prolonged shutdown could result in longer wait times and canceled flights. Negotiations between the White House and Democrats have stalled, with each side blaming the other for the impasse. Senate Majority Leader John Thune has described the Democratic demands as an extremely serious offer. but warns that they will never get their full wish list. The White House has expressed willingness to negotiate over immigration enforcement policy, but it remains to be seen whether a compromise can be reached. As the shutdown continues, thousands of government workers and their families will be affected, and essential services may be disrupted. We'll continue to follow this story and provide updates as more information becomes available. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.